And our next featured review is The Long Walk. Let's see here. I'll go first on this one. The Long Walk. This is directed by Francis Lawrence, written by JT Mollner, based on a Stephen King book. And it features Cooper Hoffman, David Jonsson, and then some other familiar faces that pop up like Charlie Plummer and Ben Wang. And of course, Roman Griffin Davis. It wasn't until the credits I realized who that was. And Judy Greer, Mark Hamill also pop up in some supporting roles here. And the premise of this, it's very Hunger Games, very battle royale. You've got one young man from every state that is chosen to participate in the long walk, and they have to continue walking. And if they stop walking, they get their ticket, which means they're killed. And the last one standing gets a prize. And so the whole movie is the whole 108 minutes is watching these 50 men dwindle down to find who is the champion of this year's long walk. You get to know these characters a lot as they talk and they have conversations. They create friendships with the people they're walking with, or create enemies with the people that they're walking with. Mark Hamill, I feel whenever he pops up in anything, it's just distracting because it's Mark Hamill. Like when he was first pulling up, I'm like, wait, is that Michael Ironside? And then I was like, no, it's Mark Hamill. Would have been so much better as Michael Ironside. Or actually, I thought at first it was Ted Levine, but I guess he does have to age out of these roles at some point. But Cooper Hoffman is really good in this, and so is David Jonsson. I don't think I've seen him in anything else, but he really pops in this movie. What else had he been in? Yeah, nothing
Alien
else
Romulus.
I had seen. He was in Alien Romulus, which I did not watch. Yeah, I really liked him in this movie. The movie, it packs a punch, it packs some power to it, similar to what you get out of a Hunger Games or out of Battle Royale, as you see the reality of what's happening. But because the premise is so simple, you really get a lot of time to develop these characters, which is really cool. The movie is like brutally violent at times, which honestly, for me, it felt weird watching this movie this week after some of the news and some of the brutal violence that we saw in just our nation and our culture this week. To see the same level of brutality in this, it was hard to watch at times, but maybe even added to the power of the movie. I did not like how it ended. I didn't like where it went in the end, but I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. And maybe I would have thought differently if this week had been a different week. As it is, I'm at 3.5 stars. I thought this movie had a really fascinating commentary on a lot of different things, and it looked great. These characters were really interesting to watch, and you really fall in love with them throughout this. And so when you get to the end, you really like feel the weight of what's going on. I was impacted by it, and like I said, you try to escape in the movies, and this one kind of made it impossible to escape considering the events of the week. But 3.5 stars. Let's go to Todd next.
Yeah, I think the movie works in some ways. It really thinks it's being Battle Royale, but it is way more Hunger Games. But with the shocking violence and shit, like literally shit, that is pretty shocking too. And I don't like the movie only focused on two characters. I don't think Ray is that interesting of a character to watch. Like, I really liked Parker, the Joshua Ojic character, the Native American one. Like, and a couple others. Like, there were some really interesting ones that I would have followed for a whole movie, and we get like almost nothing because we're stuck with Cooper Hoffman. David Jonsson is good, but I didn't think that the character, he comes off as such a stud from the beginning that if it's a fair fight, he was never going to lose. I mean, from the get-go, he doesn't even walk like a human. He walks with one of his hands holding his backpack, and he still is like in perfect form. I was like, there's no way that guy's ever going to like lose a fair fight unless he breaks his leg or something. Mark Hamill is funny in his role. I don't know. It was kind of distracting. The rules of the thing are super weird and and enforced in a ton of different ways. And I don't really get how the characters react to them too. Like, I know there's supposed to be a bond between these characters, but they're all in the same boat. Like, and we don't know what their plan was. Like, except for one guy who said he was just there to make friends. I was like, but and nobody else. We actually know why they're actually there when they knew that they were never going to win. It was really strange. The dystopian setting's okay, but it's not original. I mean, look at The Purge or something like that. It's not as fun as The Purge, but it's a similar kind of thing. And I know you could probably make parallels with some things, but like this is a heightened Stephen King exaggerated world. Like the fact that it's called The United States is almost a parody. It's a good movie, or it's not a good movie. The screenplay is good though. I like JT Mollner's work here, but the repetitiveness of how it is shot by the filmmaker and the choices that he makes are annoying at best. The ending is a cop out. I agree with you, Terry, and I could see that coming halfway through. Like that was eventually going to be what happened. It's a 2-star movie. I already kind of had forgotten about it until we started recording.
All right, so 3.5 stars for me, 2 stars from Todd. Zach, fall somewhere in the middle?
No, I do not fall somewhere in the middle. I feel more passionately about this one that it is a bad movie than Todd does. I'm at 1.5 stars with it. Todd said a lot of things that I agree with, although even probably more so. I think the world in this movie is really underdeveloped and frankly a derivative, right? It's a Hunger Games world, but we're told that their journey is meant to motivate and inspire a nation. But we only get one scene, one even shot where we see where a camera is placed. We don't get any sort of reaction shots from viewers. There's no behind the scenes. It reminded me that in the Hunger Games, it was kind of important to have those scenes with Wes Bentley and Stanley Tucci and the late great Donald Sutherland to establish like what the stakes were. In this movie, I'm sure this was by design, but you were only in the world of these 50, young men. And I just don't understand why anyone would volunteer to do it. I don't understand why the conscription happens or why anyone would put themselves in that state. Whereas in the Hunger Games, I think it kind of makes the case about why Katniss does what she does. I think the acting is flat in this movie. I think the dialogue is at times terrible. There's a line at one point a character says, "You've been walking 5 days. I've been walking my whole life." Can we get a Pinot for worst line of the year? That was a moaner. The dialogue in this movie reminded me of like It, which also had bad dialogue with younger actors, and The Mist, which I had uncomfortable similar feelings about. The Mist also kind of had just excess and sort of gratuitousness. This movie is like violent for no real reason, like it excessively violent, but like not realistically violent. Like, this is the kind of like violence that people would complain about, like Kill Bill Volume 1. It's like very kind of stylized and obviously CGI, but it's just sort of unnecessary. And where you're kind of left with this movie is, first of all, it's really boring, because we never go anywhere else than the long walk. And we only get 2 kinds of scenes in this movie. Scene A is a scene where someone dies, and scene B is dialogue that it just is kind of meaningless and dull. And there's nothing else in this movie except for either of those things. Anytime that it gets very predictable too. Like, okay, there's a scene where the 2 actors talk, and then the next scene, someone's going to die. It just goes back and forth. There's no real originality in this movie. It has a flashback here or there, but the flashbacks don't really pay off either. It also has a real YA stench to it. I felt like the Maze Runner and Divergent a little bit in this movie as well. I do kind of strangely agree that it's not, I don't necessarily blame the script. Even though I said that the dialogue is sometimes bad, I think that's sometimes just the acting in it. I kind of get the sense that, like, looking at this script, they might have thought there was a good movie here. But the direction of this movie is really, I think, kind of poor and all over the place, which is kind of funny because I actually like Francis Lawrence. I like the Russian spy movie he did with Jennifer Lawrence. I've liked his work in the past, but
Red Sparrow.
But like this movie is just really boring and, again, pretty predictable. You kind of know who's going to make it, who's not going to make it. The stakes aren't really established at all. I don't understand the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie. It's baffling. It did lead to a Rotten Tomato or a Letterboxd review that I'm really proud of. My Letterboxd review was "They shoot slowpokes, don't they?" And most people won't get the reference to "They shoot horses, don't they?" which also has a much better version of this story. So where I kind of fall in it is I kind of think teenagers will like this movie because they haven't seen better movies. It's a 1.5-star movie, and it was a chore to sit through. Although, interestingly, I didn't hate the ending as much as you guys did. I thought the ending was fine. Maybe it was just that I was happy the movie's finally over.
I just don't like how open-ended they left it. It was like, wait, what now? What's gonna happen next?
Well, they don't bother to explain anything because the world's never established, so there's no stakes.
I mean, depending on how the last 10 or 15 minutes went, this was potentially a 4-star movie for me. And I really thought the ending just like I didn't like at all.
Dud.
But
it's a dud of an ending. They didn't know how to end it.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Which I'm curious to see how it compares to the source material there of what that actually looked like. But I mean,
the book was written in the 70s, I think, so it's a pretty old text. So I don't know. But
yeah,
I don't know. I was weird. I feel like I'm closer to Terry than I am to Zach on this, but our ratings are almost exactly the same. My rating with Zach is the same. But I don't know. There were more things that bothered me. I didn't necessarily think it was boring. I just thought it was repetitive, and I didn't think it did anything imaginative the way I was hoping it would. And these are young actors. They're young actors that are talented actors who I've seen do good things before. I just don't think that their characters get enough time to do anything other than Cooper Hoffman, who I think is probably the least interesting one. But
see, this had me riveted the whole time. I was right there, and it kind of goes back to, I know Zach, you loved the first Hunger Games movie.
I did.
You hated the rest of them, but I think what the first Hunger Games movie did, and what Battle Royale did, and what this does is it keeps it simple. It's when it all starts getting complicated, and you try to open up the world and try to explain more about it, and you make the Hunger Games into this whole political thing about taking down President Snow. Well, now I don't care as much anymore. Keep it simple. Like, we don't need to know the whole story of the world. We just need to know the story of these characters, and that this is their reality. And that's why I think this movie does well, and what those other movies do well.
Yeah, wouldn't you have wanted more characters' stories though? I get it. But Cooper Hoffman's story is so vague, and he explains it, and we still don't entirely understand what exactly.
I think we get enough bits and pieces to be okay with it. At least I was.
Okay. Yeah, the first Hunger Games, I thought, and Battle Royale, frankly, I think did a good job of showing enough of why people would tune into this. The end of this movie, apparently the nation is captivated, although we never see that in any other scene in the movie. It's mentioned. There's a lot of telling and not seeing in this movie. And
because they never leave the walk.
Yeah,
like it stays there the whole time.
Well, kind of, but there's also flashback scenes, and there's a few characters that pop up.
Yeah, there's like one or two flashbacks.
The most curious thing about the movie is creative ways that some of the characters die. Okay, and you could say that about a lot of movies, like The Happening, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like, okay, how is this character going to die? I don't know. That's really where my focus was at, was how are these characters, in what different ways are they going to come up with the characters dying? Apparently gratuitously and excessively for like no reason. I'm not being a moralist here. I don't understand what the purpose of that really is. We get it after the first kill, is that killing is brutal. I also think, they could have gone a lot of different directions in the movie. How about try to plan an escape or something? I know a few of the characters do, but like, I don't know. It seems like they're all.
If they're going to plan an escape, then why would they be in the race at all?
Well, that's what I mean. Then the movie never explains that. It never shows. I don't think it gives us. It only gives us backstory to the Cooper Hoffman character, and even that's sort of vague about why he joins, and it's kind of for movie reasons. It doesn't really feel authentic. But I will say, I think that it's the direction is the problem. I don't hate the acting. I agree with you that I think David Jonsson is good in the movie, and there's a few good moments in the movie. I don't know. It felt derivative. We've seen too many movies like this, and I don't understand why people like it so much.
All right. Well, both our featured reviews, I'm the only one giving thumbs up. This one I got at 3.5 stars. Todd has it 2 stars, and Zach has it 1.5 stars. It is in theaters. I didn't check the box office, but it wouldn't surprise me if this thing blew up.
4th, I think.
It was fourth. Oh wow.
Well, it was the anime movie was first. That made like 80 million or something, and then the Downton Abbey movie I think was second.
Oh right.
It was a kind of
Yeah.
a big weekend at the box office, I think,
Yeah.
and probably The Conjuring because that had a monster first weekend. I don't remember what was third.